I'm here, so.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Howdy, Oklahoma.
My name is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
Dead gum.
I'm Josh Giddey, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
Is that like you eat them together?
Everybody tells me to get the bag of burgers.
I need like a straw.
Howdy. I'm an artist on the court.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
My name is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
It might be Aaron Wiggins.
This is a troll. It's a troll. I'm trolling.
Howdy, Papa.
Because I think it would take away from who he is, you know? Yeah.
I love Oklahoma. I love Oklahoma to death.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Perfect. Very good.
I like the hat.
You like the hat?
Vava.
This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk. I've been doing a lot of dunking.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, hardly ever, on Tuesday, December 26th, is Michele Berra. Michele, what's up?
Well, it's holidays, so I have my lazy beard on. It's all great.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you're celebrating. Hope it's awesome. And today we are taking questions from Reddit, which happens maybe 2 or 3 times a year at most, that we reach out to the Reddit community, and they delivered certainly. So we're going to try to fire through all of these if we can. Lots of comments, lots of questions, very much appreciated from the R-Thunder people. Okay. So we'll start the way that Reddit works. I think it gets upvoted, and then the ones with the highest votes are the ones that start at the top. There's maybe some bad questions at the bottom. I don't know. So we'll start at the top. This is from at 12-foot jump shot. Will this postseason be an arrival, not an appearance?
Well, if it continues this way, it's an arrival for sure. Like, they are on pace for 55, 54, 53, whatever wins. So I think that qualifies as an arrival. But it has to continue like this, and it's not going to be easy. I mean, this stretch, they are 3-1. 3-1 in this tough stretch that we discussed last Monday, I would say. So it's important that they keep playing hard, that they keep working on the things that makes them very good, like creating turnovers, like playing very good point of attack defense. Both of those slipped against the Lakers. I think that 3-point variability will decide a lot of the wins and losses, because this is what happens in the NBA. So, I mean, against the Lakers, they shot the ball poorly. The Lakers shot the ball better, and they lost the game. So there will be variance in this, but I think that OKC showed that they are a very good team. National media recognize that. I was listening to the awesome NBA show on The Athletic, and they discuss OKC as probably one of the front runners to be playing on Christmas Day next year. So I think that qualifies as an arrival.
Yep. Yeah, and I think kind of like the point of that statement from Presti is like they want to be in the playoffs year after year after year with how they're approaching it, and not just be a team that squeaks in like Charlotte, like in the past. Like, they have never really made an arrival. They've made appearances in the playoffs for like as long as we can think of. That's because they make a lot of like really short-sighted moves that get them to the point where, like, yeah, they're better, but like, are they like arriving somewhere? No. Like, I think about, I don't even know why I'm thinking about this team, but they had Steven Jackson, Tyson Chandler, Gerald Wallace, and they were good for like 1 year. Yeah. And they just pushed all their chips in. It's like, let's see if we can just get a team that's just competent now. And they just pushed everything in, and they just hoped that it worked. And it worked for 1 year. I think they got bounced around one. Like that was it for that team. Then it was over.
Yeah.
And so I think like the point is that we want to make something that's sustainable. We want to make something that is going to strengthen and get better. And I think they've absolutely done that. Yes. The arrival is happening now. The arrival is happening as we speak. And does that mean that they're ready to push in their chips to go trade for somebody like everybody's saying? No, but it does mean that, like, yeah, like, do we feel pretty confident like that they've got Shea, Chet, J-Dub, and a cast of characters that can help them in the future? I mean, absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. And
they are arriving, and like getting into the playoffs this year will be a part of that.
yeah. And again, arriving, as you mentioned, is not 1 year. So we need to wait a little bit longer to say so. Everybody thought that the Phoenix Suns were arriving. And look at them now.
Yeah.
They've changed their skin twice, and now they are in a different moment. And it's just been 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So probably the arrival is something that we can foresee. Is it granted? No. They have to play for it, and they have to stick together for a long run in order for it to be a true arrival. And as you mentioned, staying competitive, staying a contender for multiple years, because this is what they want.
Mm-hmm. From at Mamba Mentality 8-24. Just tell the L man that I love him. I'll let him know that you love him, Mamba Mentality 8-24. Not sure how you make all this happen, Andrew, but you are like a podcast machine.
Yeah, you are.
It's my passion. So it's great. I'm very, very, very grateful to be able to make podcasts for my job. It's very fun. At sweaty_shopping 1737. I'm sure you all have noticed that Kaysen walks slowly. He takes his time when he's walking. Have you all started to walk slowly to be more like Kaysen? If not, when will you start?
Well, I didn't start yet walking slowly. I'm going slowly with my car after I hit a boar hog, because I'm afraid that it's jumping on the road again. So I'm going slowly. Does that qualifies?
I think that definitely qualifies. You're driving like Kaysen walks. So
yes, it's very painful, because I used to be a little bit of a reckless driver, so it's very painful for me. But hey, life.
No, I do not walk slowly. I don't think. I think I walk a very average pace, if not try to speed walk at times. So no.
Yeah, it's like podcasting. I listen in 1.8 and I'm walking 1.8.
Yeah, exactly. Inspiron 21. Presti has mentioned that we will start looking to enhance the team when we, quote, announce ourselves, and when we reach the, quote, second mountain. Have we announced ourselves yet? And where is the second mountain?
I think second round of the playoffs is the second mountain, where you actually are among the top 4 team in your conference for real. Like, not just in the regular season, because that is a sport. The playoffs are another sport. And so I think that is where you start thinking, okay, how I boost this, how I'm able to really improving this while not destroying it. Because again, I know I said it last Monday as well, but not destroying what you have is as important as improving it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we have learned a lot about this team this year. I think we have learned a lot about who Shea is in particular, that he is like truly one of the best players in the NBA. I think that we have learned that Chet has the chance to be one of those kind of players too so far this year, because of just the skill set that he's shown through just a short part of the season. I think Dub is obviously a building block as well. I think they've learned a lot about Cason Wallace. Speaking of the slow walker, he is. I mean, they continue to start him in place of whoever is out. And I think that's really important. They obviously think very highly of him. And then you have Joe, who I think has gotten so much better, and I think Wiggins has been good, and they have a lot of guys on the team that I think are helpful. K. Rich, I think Giddey is somebody that we need to learn more about as the season goes on, and they have like some tough decisions to make with regards to Josh, whether that be continue to start him, come off the bench, trade him, whatever it is. Honestly, don't think it's because they have hit on 2 of the guys and really 3 of the guys. I don't think that it's detrimental either way with what they decide to do with Josh. There's still some stuff to learn as they go. And I think, to me, when it's like when we enhance the team, announce ourselves, I think like the announcement will come with like playing in the playoffs, seeing what are your deficiencies and what are we good at in playoff basketball. And like they saw it a little bit in the play-in, but it's one game. Like anything can happen in one game.
Yeah.
And I think like using that as like a benchmark is not something that they will do. It was interesting, and I think you can like definitely take a look at it. But when you play a 7-game series, the opposing team basically is going to find what you are not good at, and then they're going to exploit it.
Yeah,
over and over and over again. And then like your job as a team is to minimize that, and then to do the same thing to the other team. And basically, whoever can do it the best and whoever has the best shot makers at the end of the game is going to win. And the Thunder have the pieces to win a playoff series, certainly. They may be too young. They may be too inexperienced, but they have the pieces to win playoff series. And, this, I think, going to the playoffs and seeing what are our deficiencies. Are they due to age and inexperience, or are they due to a roster flaw? Which I think they found out against the Lakers in 2010. Some of it was age and inexperience that they couldn't like close out some of those games, but some of it was like legit roster flaw. We don't have
maybe if you look back at that moment. I mean, if you wait 1.5 years, you start to seeing people going small.
Yeah,
and so even that was if you look at
and though Michele, like I don't know that they had the pieces to just be a small ball team.
Yeah, no, I was just mentioning the idea that even when everything looked clear, and it was clear, and it had been clear for like 1.5 years.
Yeah,
2 years later, like the Heat just dismantled them because of small ball.
Yeah,
and
it's
some questionable in-game calling in game 2. But anyway,
but the problem is like the West was so different than the East.
Yes.
Like,
No. I'm not saying
to get through the West they needed a big. And did they get the right big? Some say yes, some think no. I could go either way on that with Perk. Like Perk was, I think, good for the mentality of the locker room.
Yeah,
and good to add a lot of toughness. But there are a lot of like on-court stuff, especially like as he got a little bit older, that was like kind of glaring. And that's why they drafted Steve-O. And Steve-O was like a great person for that team. He was like almost the perfect kind of center for that team because of the way that he boxed out and cleared the boards, and his passing was pretty good. His rim protection was good. They obviously kind of planned for that. But
on this note about like knowing what and where to fix, like at the beginning of the season, I was an advocate, and I probably still am, about the fact that Chet needs to strictly play the 5 because this is how you create advantage.
Yeah.
But is it true? Like, is that true because we don't have a right center to pair with him, or is it true because this is actually the way to improve him, to improve the team around him? Like even the simple question, where Chet fits best, and now we all say, yeah, clearly he has to play with a better 4. But like, are you positive? Because the minutes with Jay Will were actually interesting. Him roaming free, him being more of a say safety where he can run and close gaps and not being focused on the big man. So even that, which seemed to be incredibly clear at the beginning of the season, it's not really clear. So maybe one season is not enough to make the move to put all your chips in. Maybe the move is, hey, let's make a few moves where it doesn't really impact our future too much, and let's see if you can get Kelly Olynyk and play Chet and Olynyk a little bit. That will not cost you a lot. You can get a 4 that can play like a big 5 that maybe is able to stretch the floor a bit and see how it works with Chet. So these things are what OKC, I think, will do in the next 1-2 years. If the perfect talent comes available and wants to come to OKC, I'm sure that Presti will think about it. But I would not expect that to be now.
Yeah. And they could make little moves here or there to see, like, hey, does a particular archetype work? Like an Olynyk would be. He's just like more of an offensive player than Jay Will is. Like, he's just kind of like an enhanced version of Jay Will in a lot of ways. Yeah, you could acquire somebody like that probably pretty easily at the deadline. And yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a good idea. It doesn't compromise anything. If you take a minutes from Jay Will in the playoffs, is it going to kill his career? Probably not. Olynyk may likely walk after the season anyways. If you have to expend a second round pick or something to make it happen, that's kind of a big whatever for me. You look at the lineups with both Chet and Jay Will on the court together, they're a plus 16.9 according to Cleaning the Glass. Yeah. But it's only in 60 possessions. So it's just not enough time to say. Like, it's worked so far. In some lineups it's worked really well. In others it has not. Like the Shea double Jalen Williams, Dort, and Chet in 17 possessions is a minus 41.
Yeah.
But Shea, Dort, Giddey, Jay Will, Chet, which is probably not the lineup that people are like, oh man, that's probably awesome, is plus 14.3. So it's just like it's at this point it's like, who are they playing? What was happening during the game? Where was the momentum? Like, those are all the questions you have to ask when it's talking about like such a small sample. So that's why you want, like, give me 200 possessions and then we can talk.
Yeah, even more.
But like 60 is just not enough to like truly give yourself a you can't really give yourself exactly what you need. Because if you look at like Chet's played 1,700 possessions this season. The team's a plus 6.5 with him on the court. Like, that's obviously very good. And for a rookie to do that is pretty insane.
Yeah, and with the starting unit not being one of the best units. So if you look at by numbers, the starting unit is not very good. It's barely negative, I think. So that takes a lot of minutes. Yeah. So if you remove Chet from the starting unit, those lineups were like actually impactful and very positives. So
Cleaning the Glass says they're a plus 3.2. The starting unit.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, plus 3.2. Then and this is where it's hard, and we talked about this a lot. It still rings true. The starting lineup has played 592 possessions together this season. The rest of the team has played. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me try this again. The rest of these lineups have played like 73 is the next highest.
Yeah.
It's 2,600 minutes. It's almost 600 with the starting unit plus 3.2. Everything else is 73 or less. So like, it's hard to learn a whole lot about particular lineups like that, especially when it's against some of these. It's like one opponent, or it's like three opponents. Like that's what we can really learn about. Like, I think we can know that like that starting unit plus 3.2, like it's about middle of the road when it comes to like a starting lineup. Like, it's not great. It's not the worst. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We got to keep firing through. Gorilla X, please have the Fry Pod crew tell the origin of the name of your podcast. It's been several years since I've heard it, but I remember I was driving home from work crying, laughing. Also, I miss the OG theme music. I can tell it real quick. We started this podcast in the fall of 2012, and we were trying to name it and trying to figure out what to call it. And in 2004 or 2005, me, Luke, Alex, and a bunch of our buddies started a fantasy basketball league. We were playing through, at the time, I think we were playing through NBA.com. And next to each player, if they have an injury or something, it will say, like, O means they're out, DTD means they're day to day. And Luke didn't have any clue what they meant. And so Luke, I mean, unsurprisingly, wasn't that into basketball. And like, we would still, like, we'd be watching hoops at his house all the time. He wasn't always like super paying attention. But like, played attention enough to like know the players and whatnot, but did not know what any of those things meant. He thought an O meant that his player was doing outstanding. And he thought DTD meant his player was down to dunk, that they were about to do something awesome. That they were down to dunk. He's like, I thought that meant down to dunk. Like, what? Why in the world would you think that DTD meant down to dunk?
How can possibly NBA.com know where a player is in terms of like being ready to have a great performance? But that's
they're
so fun,
man.
Yeah.
So I was like, whenever we were talking about it, I was like, yeah, I think we should just call it down to dunk after the L man. So yeah, that's the origin of the name of our show. Helpful Mud 8652. Hello, fellow dunkers. How do you feel Mark's rotations will change in the playoffs? Who's getting more minutes versus whose minutes will get cut?
I think that Ooze will, if he plays like this, he will not play. I think that off the bench, I don't know what to say about Giddy. I think it's likely that he doesn't play a lot, maybe in the 20s. I think that off the bench, Isaiah Joe will play a lot. I think that Kenny will play a decent amount, and Jay will. I think that these will be the three main guys. So your 8-man rotation is basically, well, and also Kaysen, of course. So this is your 9-man rotation. Wiggins, I think, is the 10th man in terms of minutes.
Spot minutes, I think. And it's also like barring trade here. Like it's last year they made a trade and they may do the same thing with shout out to Poku. Happy birthday, Poku. 22nd birthday today. They may make a deal with Poku because I don't think the extension's coming. He has not even been dressing for games recently. So
can you trade with I don't know, Alba Berlin or I don't know, Real Madrid? I mean,
it'd be nice. Just be nice. Dude, let's just get.
I'm being very nice. Like EuroLeague is very, very competitive. I'm not saying can you trade with I don't know,
make a trade with them. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they similar to like the Baisley thing. Like they could look at a team that is looking to acquire something or whatever. They got to
shed some money.
If they're wanting to shed some cash money at the deadline, like Thunder can be like, hey, be glad to help you. They did we actually predicted the trade last year with Šarić and Baisley, and they could do something really similar. And so my expectation is that they're going to look to be opportunistic at the deadline again, and I would not be surprised if they came away with more picks instead of less picks at this deadline again. And they did it while upgrading the roster last year, and so you can do that. And so maybe there's a guy that they acquire that becomes a part of the rotation. We'll see. But yeah, I think you're right about the 9-man, 10-man rotation that includes Wiggs. I mean, is there? I don't really see them. I mean, maybe if they're desperate in a game, they throw Bertans in there, and Bertans may be traded. Like he might be the guy that gets dealt, and they kind of amended his contract in a way that makes you think, oh, well, this seems like it's going a certain direction. Vava doesn't seem to be. Vava may be dealt as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the case either, but Vava's like another one where I think like we need to learn a little bit more, but it doesn't really seem like it. But yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, let's see. At OKC_Blindham. Thoughts on Mark experimenting, plugging in Oos into the starting lineup while Giddey is out? Would make up for some of the rebounding loss with Giddey being out. They would still have enough playmaking in the lineup without Giddey. See how it works, and you can easily scrap the lineup if it doesn't work. I think we kind of know what this would look like. Do you
I mean, maybe that will boost Oos confidence a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually kind of like the way he played against the Lakers. I mean, he didn't play a lot, but he had some moments with a little bit of energy.
A little bit. I mean, I know that I'm repeating myself over and over, and if you listen to Thunder After Dark, you know.
Yeah.
But when he has this moments where either he gets up for a layup and it's the most soft layup possible. I mean, you are 6'11", you have to dunk. Like when you are like going against a guy that is smaller than you or as tall as you, you need to try to dunk on him, not just soft the ball inside. And when another guy is trying to have a layup against you, I mean, I'm not saying like block a shot, which would be nice, would be extremely nice. I just read a stat probably in these questions that he's like well over 200 minutes without a block, which sounds not great. But just make a play for the ball, a hard play. I'm not saying cut the guy's head or whatever. But just,
he's played 200 minutes without a block as a 6. I mean, he's 6'11". I've stood next to him many times. He's 6'11". He's the only player. There's only 2 players that have played more than 43 minutes on the team that don't have a block, and it's Trey Mann and Oos.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 that don't have a block. I mean, Bertans has 2. Yeah. Lindy has 1. Sar has 5. Micic has 1.
That's weird.
Wiggs only has 1. But like Isaiah Joe, and these guys have played a lot of minutes, but like Isaiah Joe has 11. Dub only has 8. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, zero blocks. That's a good call out. It's like he's 6'11". He's played 200 minutes. He's had a lot of possessions to.
Again, I read it somewhere. Sorry, I don't remember where I read it, but it's not mine. So maybe it's on this Reddit thread somewhere down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I like Oos. I think like his shooting has looked pretty good recently. Mm-hmm. Like the shot looks good. He's up to 35% from 3. Great. He's got to just be more consistent. He's only 20 years old. He's still got a little bit of time. I don't foresee him getting starter minutes this season at all. I mean,
or ever.
They're throwing him to Kaysen. I'm not willing to go forever yet, but I'm pretty close. Like they're throwing Kaysen in there, and to me, there are more viable candidates even after Kaysen. Like throw Kenrich in there as the nominal 4. Throw Wiggs in there to play with those guys. Like there's, you can, reward Isaiah Joe for being really solid. I think there's just a lot more viable candidates than Oos, and also like if Oos doesn't work out again, like just look at if you want to take a look at a team that tried to do something pretty similar to the Thunder, it's like look at the process Sixers and like who they selected in the draft and like how many guys that just did not work. You know, like from Nerlens to Okafor to, you know, Ben Simmons worked and then didn't, you know, and so I mean, a lot happens, and like those are guys that are selected at the top. You know, we're talking about the 11th pick. You know, can't always hit on the 11th pick. Okay. The _1_in_only. What was your favorite gift you gave and received this holiday season? If the Thunder gave you a gift, what would you want? I mean, I would love for Mark Degnault to sit in this chair next to me, do a podcast with me. That's what I would want. Just come, sit here at the Down to Dunk studios and do a podcast with me. That'd be a gift that I would want.
I would want that as well.
And it's possible
for me.
It's something we could do. We could arrange it.
Yeah. The best version of that would be me being there, not participating in the pub, just staring at you two podcasting. That would be exceptional for me. What was
favorite
my
gift that you gave and received?
Well, I gave a pretty nice gift to my wife.
My wife?
A pair of very, very fancy boots that match her hairs.
Nice.
So that's nice. And then I got a gift from my parents, where basically it was my wife spreading out the word that I really needed an oven kiln to like an oven for my pizza passion.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's about to arrive, and I'm very, 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 very happy with that.
Oh, that's cool. Let's see. Favorite gift that I gave. Let's see. Oh, I did give my oldest son a Chet jersey, and he was really pumped up about that.
Yeah, I gave mine a Shea jersey.
Yeah.
I actually bought one and received two. So I need to say to the NBA something like, do I need to return it? Can I keep it?
Yeah. Is it the same size and everything?
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the exact same.
It was folded inside.
Oh,
so I think they just made a mistake.
Somebody made a mistake.
Yes.
Wow. That's funny. Okay, next question. If you had to spend your Christmas vacation with any iteration of the Thunder roster throughout the years, which year would you take?
Oh, I have the answer. It's Steven Adams, Enes Kanter, and Dion Waiters. I mean, that would be amazing.
That's pretty good. That would be pretty awesome. I might take last year's team because they're all young, and you have Mike Muscala.
Okay, you're not young. Like, why are you surrounding yourself with like 20 years old? Where is the kick?
Do I age backwards too? Like if I picked like a team from 10 years ago, my 10 years younger now too? Oh, I am.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh man.
Like last year, you're just last year's Andrew.
10 years younger. I really do like that iteration of the team though. You know, like they're the youthful exuberance of like all those guys. You know, you still get Chet, like you get the injured Chet. But Chet's still on the team. I mean, there's honestly a case to be made for the OK3 team just to go on vacation with Carmelo Anthony.
Oh yeah. That's a great call. But like that is to me like you are out there on a porch, like drinking very fancy whiskey, having a cigar, like doing these grown-up things with like Carmelo being dressed. I was in OKC once, and I saw Carmelo like dressing. I think he had a hat at some point. So like, can you imagine that? That is pretty good.
Yeah, that might be the one because like Paul George, Westbrook, Melo, Raymond Felton.
Yeah, Raymond.
I mean, that actually might be the team that I would choose, because that was like it. They weren't very good, but that was like a really fun team to be around. You got Abrinas is on that team, Corey Brewer. I mean, Nick Collison. Paul George, Jeremy Grant, Eustace was on the team. I mean, I've become pretty good friends with Josh Eustace now.
Yeah.
Like Eustace is great. Pat, Andre Robertson is great. You got Kyle Singler on the team. I mean, that's the one.
Wow,
that's the one.
Okay,
like that is quite a lineup of guys to hang out with, and like just the fact that you have Melo might be like
Melo is the thing there.
Biggest selling point to me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great question. I like that question. At Hamburglar, but there's like numbers in here. We are only one win ahead of the Pelicans, who are in the play-in if the season ended tonight, as of Christmas Day. What are the chances of being a home court advantage team this postseason compared to being a play-in tournament team again?
I think that most models have OKC being between 95 and 99% of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's
like in the top 6. Yeah. Yeah, it would be a pretty big disappointment if they wound up in the play-in again. And it's not impossible.
No. I mean, injuries are like possible.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're 2.5 games up. So like you don't go by wins or losses. You have to go by both.
Yeah.
So like, they're only 1 win ahead, but they're 9 losses to 13 losses with the Pelicans.
Yeah.
So like that's not the right way to look at it. The right way to look at it is both wins and losses, and that's where you can go to like the games back column.
Yeah.
Like that's the number. Those are the numbers that you should use. With these teams, like they're three full games ahead of the Rockets. They're 4 full games ahead of the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like that's how you should look at it. 2.5 games up on the Pelicans. They're 1.5 games up on the Kings and the Mavs. They're 2 full games up on the Clippers. Like that's how you should look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and OKC played like a very, I would say, sparse schedule so far. It's about to pick up. I mean, January will be a sleepless month for me, many games. So, I mean, right now, OKC is the team with, I think, the least games of the entire NBA. I think Houston in the same ballpark, maybe one more. And so that is also why you see the games being not very high on the other teams, because OKC has a lot of games to get back. So after January, I think that they will be pretty even. And remember that the schedule that OKC play was not an easy one. I mean, not the hardest, but among the hardest. So I think that also you need to factor in. Now, it's still early, but OKC has a pretty good net rating. I mean, it would be very weird for OKC to underperform without injuries for the rest of the season. And by injury, I mean like serious injury, not Shea missing 3-4 games or J-Dub missing 3-4 games. That will happen. That already happened. So I think that without any major injury, OKC, every model have OKC being very good and being in the top 6 of the West pretty steadily.
Yeah, I mean, they're 3rd in net rating, 6th in defense, 6th in offense right now.
Yeah, not in the Western Conference, in the league.
Yeah, in the league. Yeah. In the whole league. And they have the 3rd ranked strength of schedule so far.
Yeah.
So it's not been easy, and yet they've been really successful. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of worries about that currently. And we'll discuss it if there are, but I would not worry about that one. Okay. At Goose Gang 412. I've not had a chance to listen to many post-game press conferences this season, but one of my favorite moments last year was Coach Mark quipping back at you when the team was undefeated whenever Aaron Wiggins started. What are some of your favorite press conference moments from this season so far? Mark is really funny.
Actor question, that is probably the best.
When I asked him about Chris Rock, if he saw Chris Rock in the crowd, and then he like looked at me like so confused, like I was like trying to like get him or something. And then he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he finally got it, and he was like, oh. And then he ended it with, and this is like where Mark is really, really smart, and really witty. And he was like, yeah, I'm more worried about the rebounding. it was so funny. There was also a moment, I can't remember who was asking the question, but someone was trying to ask Mark a question. And Mark, and I to his credit too, I could not understand what they were trying to ask. Like I could not digest the words and understand what the question was. And everybody in the room was just really trying to focus in on what is trying to be asked. And Mark even said, like, I'm not getting it. And then after he asked the second time and still he didn't get it and nobody else got what the question was supposed to be, he just starts going. We just start the
Like
game
the
0.
default answer.
Yeah, we start. He said we start every game 0-0. We go through every game, and then he like it may or may have not related to the question at all. But then he walked off and he looked out to us in the meeting. And he goes, I'm just playing the hits. It's so funny. So those are a couple good ones. I'm trying to think of others. I mean, Mark is great. I think he gives a lot of really thoughtful answers a lot of times. And sometimes he does like play the hits where he's just like saying the same thing. Oh, Daniel Bell was trying to ask him about like where did the 0-0 thing come from? I think like truly the answer is like it's very much a Thunder mentality and not necessarily a Mark mentality. Like I think that it's something that comes from within the organization itself and like kind of emanates from how they want to do things, and Mark like really has embraced it. And so, but I think I'm trying to remember how Daniel said something like, he's like, you guys really pride yourselves in being 0-0 to start every game. And then Mark was like, oh boy, do we, it's just like, he's just great. I really like Mark. Let's see. There's no ats here on Reddit. Level K 93. Just a total shot in the dark, gut check. We traded for Paul George out of nowhere. If you had to yell a name, just as your best guess, who would be the Thunder's team's version of a Paul George trade? Like an unexpected trade to happen. I mean, we have to kind of put ourselves in the shoes of the organization at the time that they made the Paul George trade. This team really wasn't going anywhere. And, they were pretty stuck at that point because they had done the Victor Oladipo and Steven Adams extensions. They had Russell Westbrook on this like mega max deal. Russ is a great player. Not anybody else is that good. You had to find some way to maximize that Westbrook team, or else you're just going to be stuck.
Was he though on the Supermax?
I don't know that he was on the Supermax yet, but he
signed it later.
He signed it the year that PG signed his.
Yeah,
but like we didn't think Russ was going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it was like, this is the team. They just lost to Houston in round 1, like in pretty convincing fashion. So it's like, okay, what's the move here? And so I think they were willing to make a risk, Now trading for they traded for a star with 1 year left with no assurance that he was going to come back.
Yeah.
I don't think they would do something like that now. Just to be clear. Just like be clear about like the situation that they were in then, the situation they're in now. Like they don't need to or probably want to do anything that's super risky.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean if you see how the team was constructed in that moment. Yeah, you could let go of Russ, and probably you get decent return because
Yeah.
he's after
yeah.
the MVP season, but is OKC ready to let go an MVP? I can just tear everything down. No, they are not. So the move is, I think, hey, let's try to get Russ some real help, like real help, and let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
If he wins, great. If it doesn't, then I think that the city will be ready to acknowledge that this team needs something different. And this is where the risk of losing Paul George for nothing, yeah, it's a risk. It's a risk. But if you start from scratch without most of the picks, just with Russ's pick, and by the way, Russ was not a distressed asset the year after Paul George arrived.
It would have been you would have gotten a whole lot for him then.
Yeah, because it was, hey, he didn't have a great season, but look at the moments. It was Carmelo. I mean, you had all the excuse, and so I mean, it's not the second season where Russ had this awful shooting year. It was still, yeah, maybe it's a down season, but look, he was playing with Carmelo, no spacing whatsoever. So it was a calculated risk. It turned out that by re-upping Paul George, he got the deal, who is kickstarting. But if he has to move away from everything immediately, I think that you still have a very quick rebuild, because I mean, you don't have anything then. You have a crap team from the beginning, and those are good drafts. You have the Anthony Edwards draft. You have good drafts all around. So I think that yes, it was something unexpected, but also if you look at now, I say, oh, okay, OKC wasn't ready to do a full teardown. They weren't ready after Chris Paul, but it was, yeah, he's not going to stick. So, I mean, it was they forced themselves into a rebuild. Trading Russ after the MVP season was not an option.
Yeah, without a doubt. With that said, a name that I just can't get off my brain is Dorian Finney-Smith. Plays for the Brooklyn Nets.
Come on, Andrew, that's not a name. That is not a name. That is not a name.
That's it. No. I mean, he has three names. He has three names. He would be awesome. He would be awesome with this team.
I'm not saying. I mean,
you could trade Bertans and a pick.
Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, we are talking Paul George here, and he goes Dorian Finney-Smith. Okay, yeah, sure.
Dorian Finney-Smith would be awesome. Big wing. He's got 3 years left on such a. I mean, he's got a really, really nice contract. Like, it's an absurd contract for a big wing like him that can shoot and defend.
I'm going into a metaphor here. So it's like when you see your best friend getting a brand new supercar. I can say, wow, we got that. It was a nice deal. And he goes, yeah, can you name a supercar that you like, you dream? And you go, like, if that very, very sturdy car that costs like probably nothing, but it's everyone's car. Like, come on, give me something more. A Toyota, yes.
I like Toyotas. Toyotas are good.
Yeah. Toyotas are very good, very steady.
What about Cam Johnson?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Is that better? Is that more of like a? I'm trying to think.
I mean, everyone wants us to name the guy who's about to leave the sunny place in Arizona, but I won't do it.
Let's just see what it would actually, because like we can talk about it. Like Durant, you add Durant to this team, like you're a title contender. Like you could go win the NBA championship this year.
Yeah,
I don't think. Just to be clear, this is not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Let's not get our hopes up. However, it would take a lot to get him, and like the good thing for the Thunder is like they have the picks to do it. Another question is like, is this the right player? Is this the right time? All those kinds of questions. Would he fit with the roster? Yeah,
perfectly.
You take a lot of shots away from other players that are going to be developing.
Yeah, but in this case, I don't see any.
But it's also Kevin freaking Durant.
Exactly, and I don't see any way that OKC can keep the top 2 players that they currently have. There's no way.
Yeah,
So you have
actually,
to
I do not agree with that. I do not agree
really.
with I think that you could trade Dub. You would have to trade Dub to make it happen.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm
Did you
saying.
say top 2 or top 3? You
Top
said top
3.
3. Oh, top 3.
Yeah. I don't think that you can do it without Dub.
Bertans, you'd have to trade Kaysen.
Yeah.
You'd have to probably trade Kaysen, Giddy, Bertans. How close are we financially?
No, financially is not a problem. I mean, I don't think that the Kaysen and Giddy is what they want.
We're not there yet.
You can put Vava in.
Yeah, we can put Vava in there. Yeah, and then I mean we're still not there.
I think that the trade that they would ask for
47 million.
is
Dort.
is Dort, Dub, Kaysen Wallace, and 3 first-round picks, something like that. Which is, to me, and it's Kevin freaking Durant, and I know it.
I think if this is what you wanted to do, I think Giddy, Kaysen, Dort, and like 5 first-rounders.
Yeah, that is better. Like that is way better for me.
I think like you could get it. I think you could probably get it done. Especially he's 35. He doesn't play every game. Like this isn't like a 29-year-old Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Like if you're the Thunder, like, and this was like something that was on the table, you just say, we're not giving you one of our top 3. It's not happening. These kinds of deals happen all the time in the league.
Yeah.
And I think like you could get it done without him. And then your team, Shea, Chet, Dub, Durant, then you still have Kenny, you still have Jay Will, you still have Joe, you still have Wiggs.
Yeah.
Like you're like, and I do think.
Did you trade Bertans?
Jason, yeah, Bertans is gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to make it work financially. And if you're the Suns, like you get Kaysen, you get Giddy, who I think could be pretty good with Booker. You get Dort, come back to Arizona. You know, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't even know that this is even worth talking about. But like that, though, your top 4 for the Thunder being Shea, Chet, J-Dub, KD would be so sick. And I know there'd be a lot of there would be a lot of mixed feelings about that. But and here's like the key reason. There are a lot of I could do a podcast, the top 100 reasons the Thunder will not trade for Kevin Durant this season. I could probably do that. But one is you ratchet up the expectations to 11 right away.
Yeah.
Because the expectation then is title or bust, baby.
Yeah.
And it's just not time for a title or bust moment yet. It's just not like Chet's played just a handful of games. Like it's not time for title or bust yet.
But can you just close your eyes and just remember, imagine what a KD Chet from line could do?
It'd be amazing. It'd be really cool. I just think like the timelines are just not lining up. I mean, it's similar to Cleveland in some ways. And like the Thunder have like a better top talent on their roster today than Cleveland does. But when they traded for Donovan Mitchell, they took a really big swing and a big chance. And I don't think they're going to trade him. I don't think like that's going to happen. But also, it hadn't exactly worked out. And they like threw in all these chips, including Lauri Markkanen, who, if I'm them, I'd be a little sick about, because you could have a Mobley Markkanen front line.
Yeah.
That would be pretty awesome for your future. And because like now they still have the same questions about Jared Allen, and Mobley, and what that's supposed to be moving forward. And they've been, those lineups have been better offensively and defensively for them. But what does Donovan want? And is Donovan going to stay? And they have to answer those questions, and they put themselves in a position that they didn't have to be in. They didn't have to do it. They could have waited, because Mitchell is looking like it wasn't like the perfect situation, like the perfect big swing to make. and now they are in kind of this weird limbo, and they have a lot of injuries, and it's like, what is Cleveland going to be? And I think that there's the front office put a lot of unnecessary stress on themselves by trying to hit the fast forward button. And I think the same thing would happen here. What if Durant gets hurt?
Yeah.
It's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
It's probably going to happen. And then what? Like, if he gets hurt in March and it's like, yeah, KD's out for the season. Well, now what? Like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's not the
Right?
time.
He comes back next year and he's better, and now he's 36.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
like,
too old.
there's just no reason to like ratchet up the expectations and create a situation for yourself when you already are second in the Western Conference.
Yeah, it's not that they are the Rockets or the Pistons. Like,
right. They don't need to do this. They do it? I believe they absolutely could do it if Durant decided he wanted out. I think they absolutely could do it. Is it something that they need to do? No. And do I think it's something that they will do? No. I don't.
yeah.
But it's really fun.
Yeah, and again, it's fun, but I don't think that they would actually sniff anything close to that. There are many trades. I mean, I'm reading in the chat Hugh Taylor saying, "Well, Wendell Carter will be nice." Sure, that is another low risk guy who you can probably add. Jonathan Isaac is another guy. I think it's one of the questions where you get like a defensive minded guy who may hit the tree sometimes. You can trade for Caruso, for example, just to have another like guard defender. It's not that OKC's in need for a guy, but Caruso can be had probably for the right price. These are moves on the margin that if you want to do, you can do. Again, you can try to see at the deadline who's desperate to shedding money and maybe finding a guy. I mean, Washington is in the tax, but I don't see any guy in Washington actually working. I don't think that Kuzma is the right guy. So I would not go there. But again, you can be opportunistic in finding your 7, 8, 6th maybe guy if you're lucky. And that can help you a lot without changing the structure of your team. Because if you get a guy that plays ahead of Kenny and Aaron Wiggins, that is not bad. That is not something that ruins your team. Because again, if he's better than
Finney Smith,
Dorian Finney-Smith, I'm not saying it's the wrong guy. I'm just saying he's not a guy. It's not a Paul George kind of guy.
A great guy. He's a great guy.
I mean, if they were willing to part ways for Bertans and 1 first and 1 second, I would actually do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I proposed this like 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I don't remember.
I know.
Or I was all into that. I mean, these trades for me are good trades because you get veterans that plays a very specific
ceiling raiser for them. And like the thing that they're missing to me is just like a bigger wing defender.
Yeah.
Like they just need it. They need a bigger wing defender, you know? And like we saw it even last year where like in the finals, Derek White is a really good defender, really good.
Yeah.
But Derek, like smaller guys like Dort or Derek White can really struggle with like the bigger wings. And like Jimmy Butler made Derek White unplayable.
Yeah.
You know, and so you just
Caruso will be in the same spot probably.
Caruso, yeah, I am not into the Caruso idea even 1%, even though it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'm not into that. Okay, let's see. That was we've gone an hour and I don't let's rapid fire. Let's rapid fire.
I just want to shout out Dave West 12 on Reddit. This is where I took the 200 plus minutes without a block.
Oh yeah. Shout out Dave West 12. Canderson 13. Andrew, I know you said you wanted to have Mark on the show someday. Have you tried lately? Hey, let's have Mark on the show.
Is it every day or multiple times a day that you try?
I just all the time. It's just like emanating just thoughts of having Mark Degnault on the podcast. It would just be a wonderful, great thing to happen in my life. Twitbook Plus. Should we trade Trey Mann and Micic? Not for us, but for them.
Sure.
Or do you think they can eventually make it as Thunder contributors? I just don't think so. I think the emergence of Kaysen being a really good player has kind
It's
of
still weird to me about Vava, though,
squash
even
that.
with the casing thing.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll see more Vava at some point. I don't know. Medical_sample 2738. Gonna list a few questions here. Answer how many ever you want. Where did the Tayshawn's factoid dictory name come from? It just came from Tayshawn's brain. Advice from the L-Man. We don't have the L-Man here. What do you think about Jonathan Isaac as a fit?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that before because this question prompted in my head. Not bad. Also, I mean, it has to cost nearly zero because his medical stuff doesn't.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not good.
Yeah, I'm into the idea. What is your favorite non-OKC team to watch?
I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Indy. I like Indy. I like watching Indy.
You don't like defense?
Hate defense.
I love the Sixers as of late. I watched a lot of Tyrese. He's very good.
He's good. All Tyreses in the league are good. Most annoying player in the NBA, and why is it Draymond Green? I mean, Draymond is definitely toward the top of the list. Rough watch. Insane person.
Yeah.
He's paying the price right now.
Can we take 4 seconds to discuss that Kerr actually complained about referees? Like, yeah, yes. Sure. 18 free throws are a lot, but like, come on, man. Like, look at what you have. Look at what happened up until yesterday. I think I used to hate Rudy. I don't hate him as much. He seems like better. He's working on himself, on his I don't know.
Except for he cried after they lost to the 76ers.
Yeah, I know, but it's, it's different. I don't hate him as much.
Yeah.
So
D Wild Will for D10. I think that's right. Can you make sense of Detroit? They have drafted a team every year to win the draft and not make a good team. What is Zion's?
And they're not playing them well because Cade and Ivy should be a very good pairing. Dribble dive penetration, Cade being shooter / secondary ball handler, that works perfectly. But you have to do it, and you have to do it with space.
Fire and ice. What is Zion's diet? I don't know, but
no diet
should be different. What will Toronto do? Toronto will just hang on to their guys and nothing will happen. What is Poku doing next year? Probably playing in Europe. Not necessarily OKC. What's the biggest move NBA wide before the deadline?
I think something will happen in Phoenix. I mean, probably the coach will go.
Yeah, I think the Bulls will make some deals for sure. That might be the biggest thing that happens. Where is the guest spot by Royce? Another thing I would like to happen. Just it's anytime, Roy. Anytime you want to come on the show. How long after the new arena will OKC host the All-Star Weekend? I don't know. Probably maybe 2 years after. Andrew, clearly
a grand opening, to do it the year that it opens. That would be fun.
Cool. That'd be awesome. Ever-present danger. Andrew clearly doesn't think the Thunder are legit contenders this year. If he thinks that we still need to be patient and not make a big trade. Question: how many wins would the team need to change your mind? It's about the playoffs for me. It's not necessarily about win total. You look at
57 will help the sweeten the deal. I think
it'll help some. I just also point to Cleveland again. I'm going to point back to Cleveland again and say, hey, Cleveland had top 5 offense, top 5 defense heading into the playoffs.
Yeah,
they lost in round 1 to the Knicks. They had the profile of a contender, and they didn't do it.
Yeah,
just different. The playoffs are just different.
Yeah.
Waste_consequence 765. Do you think Lowry's production would drop if he came to the Thunder? Yes, I do. What if he becomes Bulls Lowry? Is possible.
It would be still nice to have a dead-eye 3-point shooter, but it's again, do you trade Dub and picks to get him? Because this is what Ainge will ask, and he will not move.
Yeah,
he will not do it for Giddey. There's no way. I mean, there's no way. I mean, even
It would
if
have to
the
be
picks are
Giddy,
good,
Jason, and lots of picks, and then I would say no.
I don't.
just-
I don't think that will happen. I mean, Ainge wants to win trades like
Yeah.
badly.
It's true.
So no, it won't happen. If it happens, it means that there's a decision of the management that Markkanen is better than Dub, which I don't think that will ever happen. So
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Gorilla X, I tore my Lis Frank ligament and fractured 5 bones in my foot playing basketball. Ouch. And now I have to get surgery to repair it. Can you give me Chet's cell phone number? Can't do it, but best of luck to you in your recovery.
yeah.
Alex _ Athrenus. What is your favorite dish? What was your favorite dish this Christmas? What's your least favorite? Did you cook anything? Favorite holiday cocktail?
Oh, I don't have a favorite holiday cocktail. I drink regular sparkling wine. Did you cook anything? Yes, I cooked a dessert. It is a traditional Italian dessert. You can look it up. It's called Pandoro, Pandoro. It's a very difficult dessert to cook. It takes 2 days, but I was very pleased.
Sounds amazing. I really didn't cook anything. I helped prepare the baked brie.
What's the brie? I don't know what is the brie.
Cheese. It's cheese.
Okay.
It's like a cheese, like a cheese dip kind of thing. We do a big breakfast. So like we do like cinnamon rolls and like a big egg casserole and little smokies wrapped in bacon and all kinds of stuff like that. And it's delightful. Let's see. Pokushevsky 69. When is it acceptable to start the countdown to make 40 wins before 20 losses? Contender eye test. I have already started. Go ahead and start it. The Lone Bear. What is holding Jang back from getting minutes? Specifically, what are the weaknesses that are holding him back? We talked about this some already. I think like he just has to play with more force and just he's just got to have more of everything, right?
He needs to go and watch Star Wars and have in his head just play with force. Play through the force. The force is in you.
Jang,
may the force be with you.
May the force be with you, Oos. Yeah, I mean, he just has to be more engaged in the game. Like he just needs to like take 20% of what Dort does and do that. If he did that, he would be amazing. Hats off to you, Roy Harper, 41. Tell your good friend Alex Spears what's up, and also tell him to lay off trying to destroy the team with stupid trade ideas. Wow. You know why one MHM, you know why I'm here. Should Troy Weaver be let go from the Pistons? Do you think that you think you would be against him returning to OKC? I mean, I'm not against him returning to OKC. You know,
it shows how much Presti controls things directly.
Yeah.
Or at least that is wrong for me to say. But it's not that everyone that used to work in the Thunder can go in another spot and be awesome.
Yeah.
So
we saw it with Hennigan already. Hennigan was the GM for Orlando, and then he's been back here for a while now.
Yeah.
So, you know, if Troy came back here, would it be surprising? Not at all. I think that they would possibly welcome him back. But yeah, he's very beloved here by lots of people. So I guess he'd at least be given the chance to. Thunderbucks 97. Do you think Mark will experiment with the 5th starting spot with Giddey out for the time being, or should we expect Kaysen to start until Josh gets back? I guess it depends on how long Josh is out. They're going to reevaluate him this week, which they're probably reevaluating him every single day. We'll see. We'll see what the ankle looks like. My guess is Kaysen will start, but if they started Wiggs or if they started Jay Will or whatever, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. I don't necessarily think it really means a whole lot.
Yeah.
My guess is that they will take some time to experiment a little bit. I think that's just kind of the nature of Mark. It's like he likes to experiment. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Dirk, no whiskey. What is the most underrated transaction trade draft pick Sam has made in the last 5 years?
Underrated transaction. Let's see. I think that Kenrich is an underrated move that he made, like acquiring Kenrich.
Yeah.
Because like all the other moves are loud, so it's I mean
Even like
nobody.
Isaiah Joe is pretty loud.
Yeah, it's not underrated. It's rated
I think
as a
getting
great
Aaron
play.
Wiggins at 55th or whatever he was.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, 55th.
Yeah, even Jay Will at 30, whatever. Sounds like a good player. So
Yeah. That to me is probably like the most underrated like pick that he's made is probably Wiggs.
yeah.
It's like, I mean, to get somebody at 55 that can actually play.
Yeah, it's not that common.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Let's see. What else can we do? Shout out to the number 7_7. We won't have enough time to do your question. Bug Eyes, White Dragon. If we come up against a team with a dominant big in the playoffs, what do we need to do to beat them 4 times?
Play good and shoot well.
Yeah, shoot the ball well, and
also play Jay Will a little bit.
Run, yeah. Let's see. At Snoo Lemons 5457, you seem to be doing your dream job. Congratulations, Andrew. What is one thing that you would change in the past on the road that took you to get to the place you're at? I'd start sooner. So, like, if you have any aspirations to do something like this, or to be a writer, or whatever, something like in like the creative field like this, or in media, or whatever, like just start now.
Yeah, and don't be scared.
Don't wait. Don't be scared. Yeah, exactly. Beefy Frito, what's your beef with Rumble? I don't have beef with Rumble. At Spiritual-Ear 6875, Chip England's invisible, but obviously significant impact on the squad. This is a statement. Yes. Daddy Fat Sacks 27. What's your advice for a couple traveling from overseas to watch OKC play? Is it worth visiting OKC or best to catch an away game in a big city? What do you think, Michele? You're extremely well equipped to handle this question.
I think that going abroad, like going in another city and watch a game, it's surely if you have like plans to actually visit the city and you can do it while watching OKC, that is surely good. I watched the game in Houston, for example. I was there not for fun, but for college, visiting one of my professors. So it was nice. It was not the same as watching it with Andrew in Cloud City. So it's a different thing. Watching with the home crowd, it's remarkably different. And again, you can if you want to do on the road stuff, then probably you can swing by OKC and then do a kind of road tripping and whatever. So it depends what you prefer. If your significant other is not really into basketball, that I would actually go for the first, because probably you can sweeten the pill by I don't know watching what he wants. It's not that OKC is not a good city to watch, but it depends again on your tastes.
Alex Athrenas has another question. What does your wife think about you being a podcast sicko? I mean, she's outrageously supportive and awesome, and so she encouraged me from the get-go.
Same here.
How did this? Well, let's see. We'll end on this one. How did Michele start supporting the Thunder and get involved with the podcast? I've been listening since the preseason, and I've been wondering about his story since.
I'll try to make it quick. I wasn't into basketball up until 2004, where I started watching the Olympics. Italy was on a crazy run, and I fell in love with the guys that shoot from way outside. So I think they won games against Lithuania, where both teams took a gazillion of threes, and said, "Wow, this is math at work. I love that." And so I started watching. I didn't know anything. but I started working on understanding basketball. I'm a scientific mind, so I took it by numbers. And I think that at some point I got involved with my local team that used to play in the second league in Italy. And this coach, this former NBA coach, well, not the head coach, but part of the coaching staff, Marco Crespi, gave me a handbook of the 2008 draft. And he told me, look for this guy. Russell Westbrook is an amazing player. KD is all talent, but Russell Westbrook will be an awesome companion for him. And so I said, okay. So Marco clearly knows basketball. I should watch this team. And in 2013, like a couple of years later, I lived for a year in the US, and I was able to watch NBA live. And I started watching and watching and watching and watching. I started a scientific project on basketball, like basically looking at stats and stuff like that. And at some point, I saw this guy having an NBA podcast about the Thunder, Andrew, and then a podcast about NBA analytics for Vantage Sports, and say, wow, I should really connect with this guy. And I was extremely pushy on Twitter's DM and said, look, Vantage Sports really needs some graphics. Look at this, look at that. I was also doing scouting for Gonzaga, and Sabonis was a hot name on that draft. And I had a scoop that he was the guy OKC was targeting. And so I just gave it to Andrew. I said, keep it PNC. I'm not allowed to disclose this, but you know it. And then I said, okay, since you had the scoop, why not chatting about Sabonis? And so this is how it started.
Yep. We started just chatting on Skype together.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why don't you just come on the pod with me? Let's just record it. And I was like, if you don't like it, we don't have to, we don't have to publish it, or I can take it down, or whatever you want to do. And I think you probably didn't like it when I was
no, I didn't.
And then I said I liked it, and so I published it anyways. And then, we did it a few more times, specifically for the draft. And then I was like, why don't you just what do you think about just doing it all the time? Because at the time we would do a pod with. And Alex, I'm trying to remember. Alex at the beginning was kind of in and out, and he would only initially would only do the pod with us whenever he was in town.
Yeah, you had other guests. John was on Monday.
John Hamm, John Hamm was on the pod all the time. He was, before 2017, or before the 2017-18 season was on the pod every week, and then that changed with the Dream Team, and then we the lineup as we know it started that year, full time. So great.
But I started earlier than that. I don't remember. I think that you had you tried a few other guys. I don't remember all the names.
Yes.
But at some point you said, well, I need someone that can be available all weeks. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And this is where, you have to be pushy. You have to be, and among, I would say, you have to grind it out. There are no easy ways. It's not that doing podcasts, it's always fun. Last season was not fun. Many times. Having to do Dream Team after every game, having to watch 48 minutes every single time. You can switch off the game. You have to grind it out. You have to take notes. You have to be prepared for podcasts.
Yeah, the rebuild was tough.
Yeah, and again, sometimes making time in your life, maybe on December the 26th, when you have your family that is ready to play with you, to have dinner or whatever, and say, oh no, I have this thing and it has to go. So it's you have to do it with steadiness, and you have to push. You have to push yourself. You have to push your co-workers to always be there. You can't just do it passively. Well, if Andrew calls, I'll do it. If not, no, you have to be part of it. You have to, and Andrew always calls, so it's not. I don't have to push it too much. But you have to you have to grind it out if you really want to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Not listen. It's also good. We need also that.
Yeah, we definitely need that. All right. I hope you guys are enjoying a slow week, slowest week of the year between Christmas and New Year's. Get a little bit of extra the way that it kind of falls because New Year's Eve is next Monday, or New Year's Day is next Monday. So it's kind of nice. So just enjoy the slowness. Some good basketball this week. The Thunder have the Timberwolves tonight here in Oklahoma City and a home back-to-back with the Knicks on Wednesday night. They go to Denver Friday, and then New Year's Eve against the Brooklyn Nets and Dorian Finney-Smith on Sunday. So enjoy it. Enjoy the basketball, and we'll talk to you guys again tomorrow, maybe? I don't know. I don't really know. This is also an unusual week for me, so we'll talk to you guys again soon.